Welcome back to the VHS file. I am VHS Jason, of course. Next to me is the great Jason Roy Gaston, the man with the
Hello,
name on the
hello.
channel. So,
Indeed, yes. Hello.
when we were patting ourselves on the back and saying we were going to do this Alien like retrospective and Predator retrospective, um, you forget about the the speed humps in this. And I think tonight
Oh
we're talking
no,
about.
I have forgotten about nothing. You see, I'm kind of a sadomasochist, and whenever you were like, "Let's do all the Predator and Alien movies," I was like, "Okay, okay, let's do them."
Wow.
And here we come.
Alien
Here we
Resurrection,
come to that
guys.
first. Here we come to that first glorious pain, the type of pain that Hellraiser smiles about.
Hey,
Somebody's trying
like
to call me.
back in '97 when this thing was coming out, oh, I'm going to say there was a stench around this film before it even was released. I remember starting to hear articles there'd been screenings and people weren't happy with it, but I was still excited at the time. It's an alien movie. It's got Ripley. Like, what more do you want? Of course, we're going to be there on opening weekend. Of course, we're going to go see this film.
Hold on, I
And
have an alien. I have an alien. Hold on. What? Okay, go away. Children.
There we go.
Daddy, Daddy, I'm
Xenomorphs.
hungry. Daddy, you haven't fed us in 3 days. Daddy, why don't you ever hug us? Oh, God. Don't ever get children. They're not worth it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can concur. I've got 2 of them. But they're all growing up now, so they're good.
Expensive
No,
pets.
I remember seeing this movie, went with friends, came out of it really confused, very confronting kind of movie, and decided to then block it out of my existence. In fact, Jason, I will say, when I bought the Alien Quadrilogy box set, that DVD never came out. Like, I would watch the first 3, but I would never watch Alien Resurrection. So I watched it the first time again in almost 20 something years. And now I feel kind of violated.
I have a very interesting story involving this movie. I went to Dragon Con in 1997, and they had a panel where they were previewing movies, and they were showing the movie trailers for all these movies that were coming out, some of which people had never seen before. And I think we were among the very first to see the first trailer for Alien Resurrection.
Wow.
And the crowd went crazy over it, especially that last bit whenever Purvis, there was that scene where Purvis is looking at Ripley and says, "Who are you?" And she just looks at him and she goes, and then it cuts to black and it says Alien Resurrection. Everyone like went nuts. So I was pumped for this movie because I am a sucker for groupthink. So I went in thinking this is gonna be the greatest alien movie ever. It's gonna be better than Aliens. And I came out, I'm like, did she make love to that alien? What happened? It was weird. It's a very weird movie.
It's,
And
you know what it is? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as a result, there's much to hate about it, but there's also a lot that you just kind of reluctantly love. And I'm going to say right now, I reluctantly love this movie. Unironically and reluctantly, I love this movie. I know I shouldn't. It's a toxic relationship, and I think it hits me. But I do. I reluctantly love Alien Resurrection.
I can't concur with you on this one. I don't completely love it. I think there are elements that are strong, and we'll talk about them.
Fair.
But I think how this film suffers the most, to me, it's a great example of getting a French auteur director like Jean-Pierre Jeunet, bringing him into a Hollywood film and not really allowing him to make a European alien movie. Because you can tell that's what they're trying to do. Let's bring some European kind of style filmmaking to this. And it kind of doesn't work and it's kind of a little bit stilted. But because you've mentioned some of the good bits, I'm just going to come out and say, I think Sigourney Weaver is doing something really interesting in this film with Ripley. I love this version of, the 8th version of Ripley. I think there's this line, Jason, that she says, I can feel it behind my eyes. I can feel it moving. And it was like that line for me kind of almost gave me an insight to what this Ripley was going through, that she was a hybrid. So I think she was fantastic in it. And you know what? Ron Perlman's great in this. Winona Ryder, not my favorite character in this, but I get to see like character actors like Brad Dourif and the great Dan Hedaya, who I absolutely love. Dan Hedaya. Um, yeah, I just think it's a wonderful, and even Michael Wincott, who was still pretty well coming off the success of The Crow around that time. So yeah, look, it had some good performances, but man, it's an uncomfortable film.
It most certainly is. And it's funny because there's a lot of things that I think should have been dialed back. One thing that I have a huge criticism about this movie is that in Aliens, and even Alien 3, the human antagonists are pretty multi-layered. You have Burke, who's just basically a company sleazebag who wants to make money. You have Ash, who's just programmed to make sure the mission succeeds no matter what. And then you have the human antagonists in this movie who feel like they were pulled out of an Elmer Fudd cartoon. Dan Hedaya, for example. I love Dan Hedaya, but why was he cross-eyed so often in this movie? Anytime something went weird, he just went cross-eyed like this. Or, he gets punched in the back of the head. Spoiler alert for a 30-year-old movie. He gets punched in the back of the head, and he pulls out a piece of his brain, and is just cross-eyed again.
Yeah.
And then I don't know the name of the guy who played that lead scientist, but every single time something incredible or dangerous happens, he's got cartoony expressions every time, and it's not just him. There's just this weird energy with all of the human antagonists in this movie that I can't take one of them seriously.
That's great, sure.
It really is, and
again, I think it's.
I kind of get it. I kind of get that they were going for this very, as you said, a very European style, but it contrasts with what the studio mandated, I guess, because it's almost like you got two sets of humans. You have Ripley and Call and Johnner and that entire group, and then you have, and they're pretty normal. They're like the Aliens characters, and then you have the human antagonists, and they're just like, they have like mouths going doing, 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 doing. They're like the Mask. And I just don't get it. Now, a European version of this movie would have been great, especially if you had like the alien walking around with a big long cigarette going, "Me, we, the ennui. I wish I could punch my tongue through something." I think that would have been incredible.
I have never read this, and I've come up with this theory in my head about this film, and I'm going to stand by it. I think the director's intention was to make this weird, dark comedy. I think that's what he was trying to do. And the studio and the editor went, "Oh, no. This has to be scary. This has to be legit." Because like you said, Jace, the characters are so exaggerated. They're so stereotypical. They're just reacting in the most basic level. And you can also see the fun he was having, like that. And I know you said you loved it. I think it's one thing everyone says is really cool is the underwater sequence with the alien. I really it looks great, and yes. But as I'm watching it, I was going, "Oh, this is kind of cool." I could see how they were trying to make it like almost a Warner Brothers cartoon. Like it did kind of feel like that a little bit. And the thing is, the Europeans have a different sensibility, don't they? Because the sexual violence in this, I mean, it's not sexual violence in traditional, but it's very sexual, this film, and it's very violent at the same time. And they kind of merge this in this really kind of perverse nature, which I think the Europeans can process more maturely than the rest of us, because never felt comfortable with that. And with the scenes with Ripley, like she gets sucked into what happened there. Like it's kind of weird. Like, there's just so much that's so perverse in this film that maybe I'm just a little bit too, prissy and conservative, but really grossed me out at times.
Well, I find that very interesting that you say that, because the Alien film in particular, whenever it was being designed and by H.R. Geiger and written, the movie was always an allegory about sexual assault. The alien, for example, I don't think I have a good picture of him here anywhere, except for this one. The alien, for example, has a very phallic forehead, and
Yes.
the eggs when they open up, very,
Explicit.
explicit. And how do the aliens reproduce? They force themselves into somebody else's body.
Yeah.
So that kind of, as you say, sexual perversion has always been there. I think here they were just, I guess, amping it up a little bit
Well, they're
because
making
there
it
were a
okay in
lot
this
of
film.
there were a lot of violations like that, but a lot of it was kind of played off for laughs in many cases.
Yep.
And I have to say one thing, I actually love this scene.
Yes,
Whenever they're talking about him and saying, "Oh, there's one inside. We should do it quick. We have to leave him here." And they're just debating, and he's just sitting there. What's inside me? What's inside me? What's inside? And then he just loses it. What's inside me?
Yeah.
And I never remember this guy's name. He's such a brilliant character actor.
Yeah,
and he's one of those character actors who's unfortunately so good you never remember what his name is. But he pops up all the time in Star Trek, and he pops up playing these kind of nerdy, disheveled gentlemen in movies like
usually
this.
devious villainous types. Yeah.
Yes.
But he's really
I'm
good.
gonna
But
I'm gonna look up his name because he deserves a name. Hold on.
Yeah, his death scene is fantastic too. Really great. So I think it tips the line though, Jason, because in a way,
Leland Orser, you're amazing.
I do think it tips the line though, because rather than the alien movies, which you spoke about, the allegory is about, like, we've got to stop this, we've got to defeat this. There's almost an acceptance that this is okay when they do some of these violations, because and that's where I think it kind of feels uncomfortable. But you got to say, like, let's just cut to the end of it. That end scene, and I'm gonna be honest to you guys, I watched the end scene again by scanning it, because I've seen that, and it is one of the things in Hollywood that I really struggle with, because it's the design is crap. I don't like the design, but it's the death of that thing. I think I have a moral issue with the way he's killed. And it's horrible the way he dies. And sound design deserved an Academy Award, because that's what still sits in my brain. Not only the visuals, but the sound.
Scream.
So
I swear I think that they sampled Sigourney Weaver screaming, and they incorporated it into that. And I agree, it was bad. I'm going to say something that a lot of people are going to find very offensive right now, but I have to stake my claim on this hill. I actually think the design is good.
Yeah,
and I know everyone says, "Oh, the design is garbage. The design is terrible." There is something very brilliant about this design, and that is the fact that you can't see its eyes until it's under certain conditions. Because there's moments where it's just this skull and it's evil and foreboding, but every now and again the light comes in and you can see these very doe-like eyes, and you can almost see this weird innocence to it. I just think
I do handle that moment well.
Yeah, I just think that I don't know how they could have done this better, but I think it could have been done better where you get more sympathy for the creature, not counting that last minute getting sucked through the window thing.
That's my biggest issue with it, and I think it's probably what a lot of people's issues with it, and it's a weakness of us, is that we don't want to see that type of character in an alien film. We are not programmed to have sympathy for an alien character.
Exactly.
And it's really challenging. And then when you gain sympathy for a character and literally suck him through a breach in the hull, and you see him get disemboweled, it's really hard to watch.
It is. Maybe the newborn should have been debuted earlier in the movie. Give us a chance to kind of not only fear this thing, but get to where we kind of feel bad for it too, because that's what it is. It's a newborn. It's a
Have
child
Ripley
that
defend it.
yeah, it's a child that does not understand what's going on. And I think that that's what the doe eyes convey, is just this weird innocence, even though it can just like crush somebody's head just like they're nothing, as he does to what's his face from Breaking
Shout out
Bad.
to Brad Dourif. Oh, you're so beautiful. Great moment.
Yeah, Brad Dourif was so, I swear, I know I say this a lot.
Guy.
I don't think Brad Dourif was even cast in this movie. I think he just wandered onto the set and they just followed him and filmed him.
He was fantastic.
He was. They were all so great. But yeah, it's for these reasons that I just have this. I know it's not a good movie. I know this, and I'm comfortable with this, but I appreciate this movie on some levels because it really did try to do something different and weird. And I think that the studio interfered with it and kind of pushed it back to something that was humdrum and normal.
Yeah.
I think that if the director had just kept his hands firmly on the reins, or if he was able to, it would have been, I think it would have been fantastic.
Yeah, I think it would have taken it somewhere. I want to talk about Winona Ryder's character and Winona Ryder herself in this. Like, the reveal was so obvious when you first see it. You pick it from a mile away, so there's no gravitas there. And I remember groaning at it, going, you didn't need to do that. There was no benefit in hiding that, except as an audience at one point, we're supposed to think she's dead.
Yeah.
Which we get for 2 minutes tops, and then she's back. So
how did she get back up there, though?
Exactly, because she was down really deep in that water.
She was in the water, and then she goes, oh, there's a door right over there.
Yeah, oh, there's an elevator that works.
There's a soda machine. I'm going to get me a Dr. Pepper. That would see now. I need to recut that just so where she's like holding like Dr. Pepper and paydays. Just, did you guys want anything? Yeah, I agree. There was no. That's the mystery box. The mystery box needs to go. We don't need a mystery box in every flippin' movie. We knew Winona Ryder was a droid. We knew from the very beginning, and you want to know why? Because the internet spoils everything. It was the worst kept secret in the movie.
Well, because she look, the other thing, she's small, she's kind of clean, pale skin. You know, we'd seen 3 other movies before where they've done that. Oh, the other thing is she's actually, and I really am a fan of Winona Ryder, and I'm really happy that she's had a revival in her career thanks to Stranger Things. But she's miscast in this film. In fact, I don't even know if the character adds really any value because she's the dullest character of that group.
I completely agree. And I am a fan of her as well. Yeah. I just don't think she was right for this role. No, it's not about her at all. She has talent. I think that she's great. I will tell you this, whenever she showed up in Star Trek 09, my first thought was, oh no, they put Winona Ryder as Spock's mom. And then at the end I was like, no, Winona, come back. You were a great Spock's mom. She was not a great call. And unfortunately, not her fault though. Not her fault.
But I'm really happy for who I was smiling for this whole film was Ron Perlman. Because I feel like
I love Ron Perlman.
A role for him. Like in the sense that he had a fairly significant part in this movie. Before then, I think he was still probably finishing up Beauty and the Beast on TV.
No, so that was years before this.
Was it?
That was years. That was like 10
early
years
90s, though, maybe. Isn't it? Beauty and the Beast, wasn't that early 90s with Linda Hamilton and him? That'd be interesting.
I'm checking. I'm checking. Hold on. Let me see. Beauty and the Beast. Wait a second. There was a reboot of Beauty and the Beast on the CW? When did that happen?
CW just does anything random.
Gross. Okay.
Really gross.
It ran until 1990. So it would have been off the air about 5 years by the time.
Yeah, 5 years.
Oh, my God. I'm looking at this Beauty and the Beast reboot. I seriously want to throw up.
We'll have to cover
And
it one day now.
I know Vincent was supposed to be like strangely hot, but this one it's just like I have a scar and weird eyes, but look at me, I'm still like a supermodel. Oh, to heck with you,
Oh,
CW.
yeah.
I hate you and I hate
CW.
everything you've done. I wish you nothing but misery.
Yes, I agree. Now, $70 million budget for Alien Resurrection.
Wow,
surprisingly,
that's not a lot.
Not a lot. Surprisingly, ended up making 161 million domestically, which
Yes.
is a very good result to a film that wasn't critically or embraced by the audience. So I would say a lot of this was starting of the era, Jason, where opening weekends became important. I mean, that
Yes.
really took off in the 2000s, but you could see the beginnings of it here. Everybody went opening weekend to go and see this film. So, but nevertheless, look, it does hold its place in the franchise. I think I would never want to diminish it in that way. It's my least favorite of the four so far that we've seen. But I think Sigourney, as much as I think Alien 3 is my favorite performance by hers, this is a really great performance. I really feel her character, and I find her really threatening in this film and unpredictable. So for that, yeah, it has its place. If she was crap or wasn't in it, I'd never want to see it again.
I agree, and honestly, if I have one huge criticism against this movie, it is that, and it's not what you think it is. It's that I wish that they had gone bigger on Ripley being more alien and the aliens being more Ripley. Because you see it a couple of times, like, they know how to push buttons now, but they only push a button once. I wanted to see like them trying to turn the ship against the humans and like closing doors on them like was done in Alien 3. I wanted to see more smart aliens. Yeah. But
I think there's a missed opportunity where
we got this.
You really should have had Ripley as the new queen.
Ooh.
He controls them and she becomes the villain. If you wanted your mystery box, that would have been your mystery box.
I don't want a mystery box though.
No.
Let her be the villain from the first 5 minutes.
Do you remember first seeing it and talking to your friends afterwards about, oh my God, the Headed Earth? What's the next one going to be about? It's going to be the giant Earth battle film. And, we're going to see this epic war between the humans and the aliens. That's what we thought we were getting. We didn't get that. We got something else. But we'll talk about that later. So
I wouldn't have minded. I would not have minded seeing this Ripley return. I wouldn't have minded it one bit.
You could have really gone on this epic story with Ripley.
Yep.
Like landing on Earth, finding herself being rejected, finding out there are xenomorphs. Again, having her as somebody who uses them to her own benefits. I bet you if you asked Sigourney Weaver, hey, if you were able to come back as Ripley, but you were basically an evil villain, I think she'd be very interested in that.
Oh, I think she would dig it. She'd be awesome at it too. We can still.
And she's digging. She's having fun here.
Oh yeah.
She's having fun. Yeah.
I kind of wanted to know why Johnner hated Earth so much though, because it's like he kept talking about how terrible it was and how ugly it was.
Shithole.
Yeah, but they get there and it's like it looks kind of nice, to be honest.
Yeah,
nice, pretty sunset. I don't know.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh wow, the sun is coming over the methane clouds. It looks beautiful. It's too bad everyone on the surface is dead.
Yeah.
That would be kind of funny. One alien survives, jumps down on the surface, gets up, looks around, and everybody's dead.
Yeah. And I think that's the one thing with the movies that we may get an answer one day, but when this era of continuing stories kind of ended with number 4, we were kind of promised this more expansive explanation of the corporation and how that works and the bigger scope of things. It felt like we always kind of promised that eventually we would get to Earth. We do get to Earth, but not the Earth we're interested in. Yeah. So, yeah, I would love one day maybe this new Alien film, which is set, I'm being told, Jason, Alien Romulans is set before the Alien movie.
Alien Romulans?
Did I say Romulans?
You said Romulans.
Romulus.
It'll be the alien sitting over there. Let's be sneaky.
It's a fake.
Oh no, the alien was cloaked the whole time.
Well, Alien Romulus is apparently, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I saw somewhere on the internet that it is apparently a prequel, which gives me the ick straight away. But they look so damn good, I'm interested in having a look. But there you go. But we're not talking about Alien next time. We're taking a break from this franchise because we are moving into a film that we've kind of been teasing the last couple of shows. And we're finally going to be jumping into the glorious world of Jeffrey Combs.
Ooh.
Yeah. What do you do when you have an actor like Jeffrey Combs and you go, wouldn't he be a great Doctor Strange? And then you go, we can't get the licensing for that character. You do Dr. Morbid.
Ah, Doctor Strange from Temu, yes.
Yes, we're digging into this little-known film. I mean, there's a little cult following for it.
Behold, I summon potatoes from the nether.
Did you... I get the feeling you were kind of aware about this film but hadn't seen it before, or what was your knowledge of this?
I was not aware of this movie until you told me about it. You just said Jeffrey. Awesome. You said Jeffrey Combs, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm in." we love Jeffrey Combs. We will protect Jeffrey Combs.
It promises to be a fun little film. Now, you guys can go check this out on Tubi. Thank God for Tubi. Go check it out and watch it.
The regular version or the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version.
Oh, yes. Hey, where can you access Mystery Science Theater? Tubi's on there? Oh, well, there you go. Got choices.
There you go.
Got choices. That's brilliant. So we'll be doing next week on the VHS Vault, Dr. Morbid. Until then, we'll see you soon. Oh, wow.
So just so we're clear, she totally boffed the alien, right?
Yeah. Pretty gross.
Ew.